Wow, everybody got quiet so quickly. Good morning. My name's Tracy Searles. I'm the General Manager of the county's Public Works Department, and I am here to welcome you this morning to our announcement of the location of the county's park, the newest park below the below the C&D Canal. First, I'd like to recognize some of the elected officials in the room. We have Councilman Bell and his aide, Karen Barlow. Councilman David Carter. We have Chris Coonahan here representing Councilwoman Dee Durham. We have Mike Rodriguez representing Councilman Tim Sheldon. And we're pleased to have Senator Stephanie Hansen here with us as well. Thank you. So in the Public Works Department, I spend a lot of my day dealing with wastewater. So I get really excited about events like this when we get to talk about parks. I've been with the county about 20 years now, and over the past couple of years under Matt's leadership, I've seen more exciting things happen with respect to the county's park system than I have in a long time. So a couple of years ago, it really started with updating the master plans for all of Newcastle County. And then Matt put together the Parks Task Force, which he's going to talk about a little bit in a minute. But it's the first time I've seen something like a Parks Task Force being put together for the county, and we engaged in a very open and public process as far as not just this park that we're announcing today, but also as far as the county's park system in general. Just a couple months ago, we announced the opening of one of the first new parks in Newcastle County in Edgemore Gardens, serving an area that was very much in need of such a park, and it's gotten incredible use just in the past couple months since it's been opened. 2 weeks ago, we announced Kendall Summers. We're pleased to have her as the head of our newly created Parks Division within Public Works. It's the first time in the counties, in at least the past 20 years, that the planning side and the maintenance side of our park system has been put together, and we're thrilled to have Kendall's leadership. She brings with her years of experience in all aspects of state parks, and she also headed up SCORP, the statewide recreation program for the state of Delaware for a number of years. So we're pleased to have her leadership, and we really look forward to continuing to devote our resources to the county's park system, and we're ready to go. We've picked a location, and we're really ready to go as far as the public process and getting this newest park underway for everybody. So with that said, I would like to welcome County Executive Matthew Meyer.
Thank you so much, Tracy, and thank you everyone for being here today. It's really exciting today. We've been waiting for this day, or working hard for this day for a long time. The county's home to some fantastic parks, 248 of them, and they're really vital assets for our community, for recreation, for relaxation, for enjoying nature, of course, for health, and also something we don't talk about a lot, for home values. When you have a park in your neighborhood, it increases your home value, and if you don't have a park in your neighborhood, it certainly makes a lot fewer people want to live there. So it's really important as we develop out and build out this part of the county, we do so with open space, farmland preservation, and parks in mind. When I grew up, Middletown, this area was a lot of open space and a lot of farmland. And that's becoming less and less so. So we need to do a better job as leaders to make sure that open space is preserved and we have large active recreation spaces like this. When I came into office, I put together a task force to look at parks across the county, and particularly in this area. And I wanted to highlight many of those task force members are here today. Ed O'Donnell, who you hear from, was the chair of the task force. He worked for the county for a few years, led our land use department, and getting him to put the fishing pole aside to come lead those task force meetings was not an easy task. But he did so, and he did so with excellence. In fact, I think several times in this very room, Romaine Alexander, Patrick Omanya, Aaron Blythe, Peggy Schultz, Dave Carter, back when he was Dave Carter, before he was Councilman Carter, all served on the task force as well. So let's give them a round of applause. I also wanted to highlight, I think we forgot to mention, Rachel Zara, Dave Carter's aide, is here as well. So thank you, Rachel, for joining us. The task force made 15 recommendations to me, recommendations that we took very seriously. One of them, recommendation 4, was to reorganize county government to make sure that our parks were better organized, better functioning. We've already done that. We have a parks division now, and our manager, Kendall Summers, is here today. So Kendall just started recently as our parks manager after a long history with state parks and with county parks as well. And I asked the task force to make recommendations regarding fiscal responsibility, getting a good deal for the taxpayers, leveraging private and public funding, making access to parks more equitable across the county, protecting sensitive spaces for generations to come, and also connectivity, making sure our parks and communities are better connected, not just by car, but by walkable, bikeable trails, making sure there's public transportation access to our parks so everybody can enjoy them. And something we're looking at is making our parks connected. So how can we make sure our 248 and soon to be 249 parks, you can move between them without a car. Task force held 6 public meetings, which were live streamed on the county's Facebook page, and those views, we had over 4,400 views, and 76 members of the public attended the meetings in person. We got more than 600 comments from members of the public, most of them from people who live, work, and play in this area. So I think we did a really good job reaching out to the community and hearing from them. Recommendation number 1 of the 15 recommendations was we needed a park in the vicinity of Marl Pit Road. And that's why we're here today. We've been working tirelessly since then, looking at some of the proposed properties that the task force looked at, as well as excess parcels from DelDOT's 301 project, most of which were undeveloped wetlands or had limited access. Just driving down here, I was talking with Andre Allman, Chief of Staff, and we were pointing out all the different parcels we had looked at over the past year, and many of them just weren't practical. We looked at privately owned parcels. Again, some of them we may have future announcements on, other of them just are not practical. And we looked at utilizing part of the future water farm too, which is a county-owned property owned by our sewer system. And after careful consideration, we've made a decision. And I'm pleased to announce that our 249th Newcastle County Park will be located on a large parcel of county-owned land on Shallcross Lake Road, north of Marl Pit Road. The site was selected because of its central location. Right now, if you draw a 5-mile radius around the park, you'll draw a circle around 30,000 residents. So 30,000 residents within 5 miles of the park today. And based on our planning projections, we expect that to grow to around 50,000 residents. And the location's in a great area between Route 1 and what was not when the task force was meeting, but is now Route 301. It's experienced tremendous population growth in recent years, and we expect the growth to continue and be an asset for the community for years to come. Selecting this site allows the county to save acquisition costs. We don't have to go buy this from a third party, and we can consolidate future public works services at one location south of the canal. It can be a hub of sorts for services south of the canal for years to come. We're going to have a process to determine what actually goes in the park. I will tell you, I don't sort of command what we put there or dictate what goes there. We listen to the public. But I will say I have been shopping for a pickleball racket myself. Without further ado, we're really excited about the location. We're really excited about the community being engaged both to this point and going forward. And I wanted to introduce someone who's been key to that engagement, someone who spent years giving of his time to the people of this county, and that is Ed O'Donnell.
Thank you, Matt. First of all, I'd like to, about the pickleball paddle, I don't think, we were really surprised when we started hearing back from the people, and everybody was looking like, what is pickleball? You know, evidently there's a whole culture in here and we're not aware of, so we're gonna have to tap into that. But first of all, I wanna thank the task force members for their dedication and contributions. They brought a set of unique skills and perspectives, which really contributed to this effort. Some of the hallmarks of this task force as far as its operation, one was a robust public engagement process with transparency, decisions based on good data, coordinated with other levels of government as well as the private sector, fiscally sound, not only fiscally sound from the standpoint of acquisition, but development and maintenance. And then it's also linked to the county's comprehensive plan, the parks plan, and the capital improvements program for Newcastle County. Some of the examples of the work that we got involved in, just to give you an idea. I'm just going to give you a few. Review of previous park plans, the development and analysis of a social media survey. I got Dave Carter to thank for that, because that was really a tough proposition, how we're going to reach out, and we did it. Drone photographies, again, that was Dave. Demographic information, site identification, identification of desired amenities, political realities. Councilman Sheldon kept us grounded all the time. You know, said, you can't do that, you know, because we have some other things to deal with. So that kind of helped us out. Concern for disadvantaged populations, identification of driving distances. Those are just a few. But I also want to really thank both Dave and Aaron Blythe, for they were basically the chairs of our various subcommittees, one on amenities and one basically dealing with location. And they did yeoman work in getting that together. Also want to thank the executive office, especially Andrea Alman and Michael Bowser, and general managers, especially Tracy Surlees, Rich Hall, and Kendall Summers, for all their work. Their efforts really greatly assisted in the development of this report. But lastly, and most importantly, I really want to thank the residents of Southern Newcastle County who took the time to attend and to participate in this effort and to really respond to those surveys. And the residents were always courteous, welcoming, and sharing for their wealth of parks and recreational background information. They also identified a whole series of other issues. In essence, nobody was shy at these meetings. They shared everything with us, whether it was parks related or not. But it was really a good testament to the interest of the residents of this area. Today's announcement of the park really fits with Task Force recommendation number 1. And that was identified as the top area for a regional park. That was the real desired area from all the residents' response. It was also, I think, basically, it gave us an idea, or it gave us an opportunity to reevaluate what we do with wastewater farm number 1 and the surrounding lands and things like that, and maybe to get a synergistic effect from those lands as well as the recreational facilities, which I think the county executive just mentioned, and combining of services. Some of the types of preferences for amenities, and that's what Aaron's activity, and looking at some of the, by far, walking and biking trails were high. Playgrounds, athletic fields, open space and natural features, picnic areas, and that at the bottom, but very vocal, pickleball. Okay. Through the next series of public meetings, the specifics of the amenities for the park will be defined, and again, I think the county executive mentioned the process as we go forward for that. This promises to be an exciting time in the development of park and recreational facilities for Newcastle County. And we're looking forward to seeing how it progresses. Like you said, there were some other recommendations there, and those also have to be followed up with. But with that, again, I'd really like to thank the task force members for their help and for their contributions. And with that, I'll turn it over to, I guess, who's it, Dave? Or who's next? I don't have any. I think you're next, Dave.
I'm checking with my manager.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go, Dave.
Well, thank you. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. You know, I've spent 20 years as an advocate down here, advocating and working towards a regional park. I wanted to remind Tracy that 20 years ago, I served on a different task force that we thought our park was going to be over at the St. Anne's property. And then that changed. And I can't express strongly enough so many people that were so involved, so determined and so diligent over the years to keep pushing to help get this done. Their persistence and their dedication was wonderful. I also want to really thank Executive Meyer and all of the county staff who worked through this with us. It was a tough process we went through. To get to the first choice took some major work by some of the staff to change some things that were probably set in stone, sort of. And it's a lot of adaptation took place of how we're going to fit this park in with our other infrastructure needs and other stuff. And I just want to call out Tracy and Kendall both for the wonderful work that you did to make this possible, and Matt for allowing you to work with us to move this way. It's just an amazing thing. You know, we've heard a lot about parks, the importance of recreation, the importance of fun, you know, the things that come together. But in Southern Newcastle County, we've gone through drastic changes. Our community is much larger, much diverse. We don't know each other as well. And a large part of why this site was so important is because it really can bring so many people together into a common area, to rub elbows, to get to know each other, to begin to build trust and community capital, to work together, to build together in a community that is being strained by the rates of development. The location centrally that allows that easier access for everyone is really, really critical. You know, there was Jane Jacobs, a kind of old classic planner from the 1960s, pointed out that, you know, parks are the soul of communities and how important they are to help us build those type of relationships. And I believe that this park, along with all the recreational opportunities, all the things for our community, it's close linked to hopefully our library to be able to have maybe even shuttles between library program with parks program will provide us with a unique and much needed opportunity to bring our communities together down here. I also want to thank everyone from this more recent task force. This group took our mission to heart and really diligently worked hard, took it very serious, and it was a lot of work to go through this with some tough decisions. One of the toughest was recognizing the fiscal constraints and how to do this responsibly. And I think we really achieved that well. So with that, I can tell you I'm really looking forward to planning the amenities for this park and to engaging the public, to once again listening to the public. Their guidance was instrumental to the task force and to all of us to do this. And it really shows that despite all of the changes and difficulties, the more we can engage the public, the more that we can make sure that whatever we evolve to south of the canal, we can find something for everybody and bring us together as one community. And that's really, really important, I think, for all of us. So now, I guess I'm ready to sit down and get ready to start the real work and get this park built. Thank you very much.
Councilman Bell.
Thank you, County Executive Meyer, and welcome to everyone who has taken the time to join us this morning. And it is a very exciting time. It's a very exciting time for Southern Newcastle County and throughout the county, but Southern Newcastle County for so many years. And I've served on council now for 15 years and going into my 16th this next year. But for years, various amenities that have been enjoyed in other areas of Newcastle County and the northern sectors have all been in place and 10 and 20 times over. So we have an administration, and I really think a tip of the hat goes to our County Executive, Matt Meyer, in this endeavor, because of the fact that for so many years, we knew that the growth zone was in the southern part of the county, the central core, and it continued to grow. And even with the economy slump and the housing taking a dive for a while, it's back, bigger and better than ever, and continues to grow. So County Executive Meyer has made a commitment to southern Newcastle County as well as all of Newcastle County, but especially to southern Newcastle County, to bring services that the citizens, our constituents in southern Newcastle County, quite frankly, have not been able to enjoy in past years. When you think about it, it's not too long ago that the administration, in concert with the council and the town of Middletown, that announced a Middletown library, a county Middletown library committed to the southern part of Newcastle County. To dovetail with that, right down the street, we have our paramedic station, who for years have shared quarters with our county police department, and now the American Legion shares quarters there. But the facility has never been geared up or planned to properly house the paramedic unit. Units sitting outside many times during cold winter months, having to be plugged in. And just recently, the county executive, and like I say, in concert with the council, announced that the bidding for this particular project of the county paramedic station in Middletown for its complete renovation and upgrade is about to take place. So it's no surprise that the commitment to bring a regional park, one of what I hope will be many in the future, smaller regional parks that our citizens can enjoy, it comes to no surprise to me that our current county executive has made that commitment, carried through on that commitment. And I'm very excited it's in the 12th district. However, when we think about it's an extremely picturesque, it is the right property. The administration mentioned fiscally responsible. Certainly you can put parks pretty much anywhere that someone wants to sell you property. But when you think about the county government own the property and the investment that the county will make into the infrastructure, and that's what's important, and the bottom line to all this is that the commitment to improve infrastructure and county services to southern Newcastle County. I applaud the efforts of the committee, the task force. Ed O'Donnell and I go back a long, long way, probably too long to mention, but did a tremendous job in serving Newcastle County and its residents and continues to do an excellent job. But through the leadership of Ed, the task force, the members who contributed so many hours to this process, this is the end result. And so I end by saying that I think a tip of the hat goes to Matt Meyer, our county executive today, for his relentless commitment, his perseverance in bringing much needed county services to southern Newcastle County in the Middletown, Odessa, Townsend, and I always say MOTP because we kind of forget Port Penn and the beautiful area that was one time years ago shipping, and even north of the canal, folks can enjoy this, what will be a beautiful facility, a beautiful park for all ages, from the youngest to the most elder kid. You know, this will bring folks together, was much needed. I applaud the efforts of the administration and in particular the county executive. Let us begin, and I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Councilman Carter and Bell, for your support. Anyone that knows politics and Dover politics in Delaware knows that in the last 2 weeks of June, you cannot reach a legislator, you cannot schedule them to do anything. But in this area, they're very fortunate. And I should add that Representative Hensley and Johnson and Senator Ennis have all, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone, have all reached out expressing support and expressing apologies for not being able to attend today. we're very lucky to have a state senator right here in this area who has supported environmental sustainability, the preservation of parks and open space, making sure that when we plant in state and county lands, that we only plant native species, plants that are sustainable. She has a commitment that is second to no one. And it shows that she's somehow managed, in the midst of an extraordinarily busy week, to find time to make it here. We really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Stephanie Hansen. Former County Council President Stephanie Hansen. Thank you.
Well, this is important to be here. I mean, I made sure that I was here because this is a really big deal. You know, maybe a year ago or so, we were all standing here, and I think the only thing different at that point about a year ago was we were talking about a library, and we had the photos of where the library was going to be, and they were over here, and I think the podium maybe was over there, so we flipped it a little bit. But that is really indicative of the fact that this administration cares so much about what goes on in southern Newcastle County. And they have a commitment to make sure that they are serving the people in southern Newcastle County, that they're doing it in the right way. So I wanted to make sure that I was here as well, because I have a commitment to the county, to the people below the canal, the county administration, to kind of be what you need to be in the state legislature so that we can get the good work done for the people. And as the county executive had said, I mean, I remember maybe about a year ago as well, the commitment that the county has to native species that it plants in county land, and that is a huge big deal. You heard the county executive talk about 248 county parks. I mean, when you have an emphasis from the government and government doing the right thing environmentally on such a large scale, that's a really big deal. So I wanted to make sure that I was here to show my support, to really give thanks to the county executive and the administration for all of their really confidence and push to do the right thing and to serve the people in southern Newcastle County, and to the task force members as well who have spent so much time here, particularly to Ed O'Donnell, who, when I was president of county council, he was the general manager of land use for Newcastle County. So, so many times, and it's part of what makes Delaware's, it's part of what makes Delaware unique, is that, old people don't really go away like us. We just kind of we recirculate in a different form. If you're looking at the, yes, I did. Well, yes, but we still have a lot to give. Absolutely, we still do. And thank you so much for everyone being here, and thank you for the county executive and our county council representatives.
I'm going to have Kendall Summers come up here in a minute, but before I do, there have been a few references made to the new Middletown library, and it would be negligent if I did not mention Kevin Swed, who runs the Appoquinimink Library, this facility, and is hosting today, is here, and we're happy to have him here. And I know I'd be in a lot of trouble if I didn't mention that there are planets on the walls around us, and that is because we have a summer reading program for kids 0 to 17. Last year we set a record. Over 8,000 kids in this county participated. They logged over 110,000 hours of reading. What we're trying to do is eliminate what's called summer learning loss, where I know as a teacher, you go in the first week in September to teach, and it takes until about the middle of October to get to where the kids were in June. So if you know any kids, tell them, University of the Planets, they should stop by the library and get involved, enrolled in our summer reading program. So back to the regularly scheduled program. Without further ado, for some of the specifics of our new park, the new parks manager, Kendall Summers.
So good morning. I think it's still morning, and thank you all for coming and being here for this wonderful announcement. When I came to the county, one of my first tasks, literally I think it was my first task, was being the liaison to the Parks Task Force. And I'm still, a year and a half later, trying to figure out if that was the county's way of hazing. I don't think it was. Watching the task force do what they were asked to do by the county executive, and really taking their job seriously and working very diligently to collect very accurate and good data, to involve and engage the public, and to come up with a list of recommendations, very thoughtful recommendations, and put them into a nice meaty binder to hand to us. It was an amazing thing to watch. It's really how the public process should work, and it allowed us to get information that I don't know that we necessarily would have had. So I want to make sure I thank the task force members that are here for their due diligence and for all the work they put into it, because you really made our job a little bit easier following up on the recommendations. So I kind of look at a new park as a triathlon of an event. We've identified the location. That's the first step, and the task force is kind of passing the baton to the county to take it into the planning and design phase. So those are going to be our next steps, and then we'll finally cross that finish line once we get to completion and opening the park. So as far as what's next, we have a blank slate. The site we picked, it's a field right now, so it's kind of a blank palette. We can make it whatever we want it to be, and we hope to engage the public to help us shape that or design our picture, if you will. One of the cool things about having just this open palette is we can provide, it's roughly a 100-acre parcel, so it gives us a lot of space to provide a number of different activities that people have asked us for. There's 30,000 people that live around this park. That's a lot of different opinions for what they want to see in the park. So we have space to put those things in there, but we also have an opportunity to incorporate some natural features in the park. The corner of this park has a wellhead, so we can provide expanded buffers to protect drinking water. It abuts a tributary of the Appoquinimink Creek, so we can create buffers and maybe do some reforestation type stuff to improve water quality in Appoquinimink. So we have a lot of different options, and our next steps are to work with a landscape architect to start a design process for the park. So we hope that within the next month we will have someone on board to partner with us for that. And then by the end of the summer, we hope to start to re-engage the public. You know, the task force got a lot of, I think you had over 500 survey answers from the survey. So we got a lot of information from the task force. That's kind of the foundation that we will build on, but we will re-engage the public, have multiple meetings in the MOT area, not just in one site. And we will take those and move them forward through design. And I would foresee us having public meetings throughout the process. So not just one where we say, what do you want, but one where we get an understanding of what's needed and what's desired. We have a sample design to come out, show it, re-engage the discussion, and then follow us through to completion. Once we have a final master plan, we are ready and prepared with the support of the county executive to move directly into construction. So we hope to move the process along rather quickly and get some infrastructure in place sooner than later. So with that, it gives you an idea of the next steps. I believe we have arranged a bus to take us out to view the site, if anyone would like to come with us. Is there anything else?
It's muddy.
Oh, I also have to add that if you do go out to the site, it is a little bit muddy, so you'll want to watch your step. We have a bus and some police officers that will block the road, so thank you guys for helping us out to show you the sign. So with that, I think we can move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.